Hope you're all having a great day. It is Wednesday, and this is going to be a bit of a quick but strange discussion or video about something that's, hello. You smell my dog. Yes, you do. Good dog. Um, I love it when dogs come and say hello to me. Yeah, you smell my dog too. Of course you do. Hello. Hello. All these dogs on a walk greeting me because the scent of my dog is I just was walking around with him, and I can smell him very, very much because he's gigantic. So, um, anyway, so yeah, something happening in the Bitcoin market that prognosticators and high time frame, long term analysis type people, macroeconomic people are talking about, which I find quite droll, to be honest. But it is the topic that's going around. So if you're into Bitcoin or thinking about it, thinking about getting into Bitcoin, this is something you probably will hear about somewhere. And that is the topic of, how much Bitcoin do you need to become a millionaire if you're not already a millionaire, right? What is the prospect of, for example, 0.01 Bitcoin making you a millionaire at some point in the future? Well, again, this is going to get a little weird. So let's look at some fields, shall we? And canals. In order for Bitcoin to reach a value where holding 0.01 or 1/1000th of a Bitcoin, right, will make you a millionaire. Well, do the math. 1/1000th of a Bitcoin, there's 100 million Satoshis in every Bitcoin. So if you divide 100 million by 1,000, you're talking about 100,000 Satoshis, okay? For that to happen, for 100,000 Satoshis to be equal to $1 million, if you do the math, obviously it's very easy. 100,000 times 10 is 1 million. So each Satoshi would have to be worth $10, right? Now, if each Satoshi was worth $1, and there's 100 million Satoshis in a Bitcoin, that would make $100 million Bitcoin. So 1% of that would be $1 million, which is 10 times 1/1000th, right? Because 1% is 1/100th, so 1/1000th is 1/10 of that. So you'd have to have not a $1 million Bitcoin, you'd have to have a $10 million Bitcoin for 1/1000th of a Bitcoin to be equal to $1 million. Got that? Right? If you want to hold 1/1000th of a Bitcoin and see it turn into $1 million at some point, maybe 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now, who knows? You're going to have to wait until Bitcoin reaches a price of $10 million. Now, mathematically, is it possible for that to even happen? Like, considering how much money is in the world, how much wealth actually exists. Okay, well, consider that 16 years ago, when Bitcoin just launched, it was worth nothing and people were trading it for nothing. When Bitcoin hit $10, people were like shocked. People who were into Bitcoin, like shocked, like what? I could sell these things for $10 a piece. I'm rich, right? If they had like thousands of them, or tens of thousands of them, and they had hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin at $10 a piece, or millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin at $10 a piece, depending on how much Bitcoin they had. When it reached $100, people were like, flabbergasted that this thing could be worth this much, and nobody thought it could get to $1,000, but it did, and so on and so forth, right? And people, when they hit 1,000, and people like Mike Novogratz were saying, a bit later on, it's going to go up to 10,000. Everyone was like, "You're nuts, dude." But it did, didn't it? It went up to almost 20,000 in 2017. And then some years later, in 2021, when it got up to like 70K, right, the discussions were, there'd already been discussions for years before that of, why can't Bitcoin ever reach $1 million? It's possible. But certainly when it hit 20 grand, that discussion was already happening among some people, but most people still didn't think that was very possible. But if you did the math, it was very obvious. There's no reason why it couldn't go to $1 million. And we're still very far away from $1 million. Right? Bitcoin did cross over 100 grand in December, or in November and December. But it's back below 100 grand. But that doesn't mean that long term it won't hit 100 grand again and go up to a higher number, and over the next several years meet or beat $500,000, $750,000, $1 million at some point. It seems kind of inevitable in a way. Now, of course, nothing is actually 100% inevitable, right? Because things can happen. But if it maintains its trajectory that it's been doing for the past 16 years, there is a very high probability that it will continue to rise and deliver more positive returns, and that eventually the price will reach 7 digits, right? And then beyond that, why would it stop there, right? If at some point it reaches $1 million, you have to keep in mind, Bitcoin is already like the 7th largest asset in terms of liquidity in the world, right? It's like among the top 7 or 8 stocks on the planet, and it's not a stock. It's just a commodity / currency. And it's already surpassed the value of silver when it hit 100K, right? So it's right around that, the value of the total market cap of all the silver in the world. Think about that, right? So to go from where it is now, say 100 grand, okay, to 10 million, it has to go another 100x. But here's the thing, it's already gone up billions of percent since its launch. What makes you think it can't go up another 100x over the next 10 to 20 years? There's an incredibly high probability that it's not going to just stop where it is. And there's a very high probability that it will continue to rise based on the returns performance. And there's a high probability that the price action will follow those returns, because that's all price action does. And that eventually it will, in fact, cross the $10 million mark for Bitcoin. At which point, yes, 1/1000th of a Bitcoin would be worth $1 million. But you have to keep in mind, by then, $1 million in like 10 or 20 years will be worth what like $500,000 or $250,000 are worth today. So while you would technically be a quote unquote millionaire at 0.01 Bitcoin on a $10 million Bitcoin, it would not make you rich necessarily. It might make you very comfortable, but certainly not rich. So that's all I wanted to mention to you for now. And yeah, I will see you later. Cheers.